Okay, ready, guys? The Series 2, Episode 4, School.
How did you find learning?
Easy.
Okay.
Complete breeze.
That's the first line
Anyway,
of this episode.
And I seem to remember getting a horse-drawn milk truck. What would you call that, Tom?
Are you that old?
A horse and trap.
Used to take us to school.
Fling.
It truly was the most idyllic childhood. I mean, I don't regret sending any of you to boarding school, but I think that actually we probably have had terrible rows. It would have been a disaster.
No, Mum. Thank God I was away
I
from
think
you.
it was. I think it was
But
a
I
great
mean-
thing.
Stop talking about British Airways and move on.
So welcome back to Everyone Loves My Mother, a podcast from me, Alice, and my mother.
Serena.
And it is all about you.
Well, that's pretty clear from the name. Everyone loves my mother.
They sure do. And this podcast shows that even more.
Why?
Well, because people apparently are listening, and as you say,
I know,
they're
it's amazing, isn't it?
messaging you all the time.
I do get
so
some very lovely DMs. I've only had one negative comment. The rest have been positive.
we're actually going to troll that comment soon. But we are here today because we are going to talk about schools in general, from boarding school to day schools, to schools in Australia, to schools in the UK, and how our kind of experience at schools shaped our lives, which I think is super interesting, especially in my case, maybe. And also what we're doing, what we did with our children in their schools.
Yeah.
Firstly, what are you wearing?
Of course. I am wearing my favourite British brand, one of them anyway,
M&M.
WNU. No,
Oh, sorry.
I love M&M. But WNU have won my heart on the shirt. This is a beautiful pale blue,
It's got like a bib on it.
bib, sort of like a men's tuxedo.
It's good if you kind of make a mess.
Yeah, exactly. M&M bracelet, almost considered buying a second one. They've just restocked them in England, not in America. I'm sorry to some of my followers who've asked. Trousers very old from that shop, Alice, a TK. Do you remember that? URT.
Yes, and they closed down.
I think they were owned by Zara. And glasses from Ryan Simkhaie. And my shoes, very old Zara shoes.
They are great shoes. Not as good as the raffia ones.
But
they're
they're good.
I'm
And you?
wearing a La Veste cord,
Suit.
I think you could say.
Yeah.
Tom thinks that I look like I'm dressed like a Christmas curtain.
I mean, I
Just
get
a-
what...
a curtain.
I mean, tartan.
A Scottish curtain.
You look $1 million.
I'm wearing a white H&M t-shirt underneath.
Oh, you buy yours, or do you buy all your t-shirts from H&M?
I only have one t-shirt and it's this.
God, I have 100.
This is my white H&M.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's actually, I'm not being rude to H&M, but I've bought them for years.
Has the
and
quality gone down? I'm
it's
telling
honestly, it's half as thick.
you,
Isn't that fascinating?
Uniqlo, round neck. They're the best you can get, but you'll have to buy a very small size.
Okay, well, could you get that for me for my
Yeah,
birthday?
yeah.
Great, next year.
For Christmas, I'll give you 2.
And I'm wearing my Paris, Texas boots again, and I'm wearing a Gucci belt just to keep everything up. So, Mum,
Okay.
the reason we also wanted to talk about this is when we did our intro episode in episode
People
1.
showed interest, didn't they?
Well, people also said they wanted to know a bit more and that we didn't really go deep
Yeah.
enough into, really your beginnings and your time in Australia, your schools in Australia. And I think we should start with that and how it then felt moving to an English boarding school.
Okay. Is there a therapist outside the door for me to be dealt with later?
Yes.
Therapy is
that
you are
included?
so past therapy.
I know that
No
one
one
will
could help.
No, it's true. It's true.
And also, it's against your mantra.
100%.
Yeah, you-
I'd be hopeless at it.
Don't talk about
Not
anything
as-
you feel.
No. Okay. As a child, I found school quite difficult.
Really?
And I know, let's just... No,
Really?
well,
Is that why
I
you
was
have
very-
mentioned about the psychiatrist?
No.
Sorry, so what do you call it? The
Therapist. No, when I say that, I got terribly homesick. I went to this kindergarten called ME+EM in Melbourne, in Australia, in the church on...
Miss Lemon,
Miss
that's
Lemon's
very
church.
sweet.
But I really got incredibly homesick. Anyway, so I started at that little tiny kindergarten. I think it was on the Toorak Road. And then I went to a lovely all-girls school.
No, hang on.
I was for like
a long-form
4,
podcast.
3.
Tell us, what more do you remember about Miss
I don't
Lemons?
remember anything. That's why we're going to get
She
to the
doesn't
next.
remember much.
But the next bit, Tom, is when I went to this lovely all-girls school. The
Yeah.
uniform's quite similar to Felix's and until recently Nancy's, called St. Catharines,
Yes.
where I have made a lifelong friend who I speak to probably every 3 weeks, called Claire. She and I...
Every 3 weeks, that is exact.
Well, it's about every 3 weeks. And she lives in Melbourne still.
She has a grandfather or father who is in the Australian cricket team.
Oh, she's obsessed with cricket.
Yeah.
And then sweetly, she invited me once to some very important cricket match. And I said...
This is the second time we've had cricket on the podcast.
Yes, and I
Very
said,
exciting.
no, the seat was wasted. Anyway, she's still my friend. And she's got 4 children, and I'm godmother to one of hers, and she is your godmother.
Yes.
That's right. Anyway, so Claire looked after me really at school.
Was she your age?
Yes, we were in the same class.
Yep.
And how did you find learning?
Easy.
Okay.
Complete breeze.
That's the first lie of this episode.
No, anyway, so we lived in, anyone who's listening, actually, I know some of my listeners are from Melbourne, and I know some St Catharines girls are from Melbourne.
Quick shout out to Australia, 3rd highest country.
There you go.
that
I love
downloads.
you see. Australia,
UK, then US,
I love you.
Then Australia.
I feel Australian. In fact, my Australian passport's about to expire. It's $600 to renew my Australian
Well,
passport.
it is quite useful.
Well, yes, I guess so. Would you let
Especially-
me go to Australia for a couple of months?
No, but
No, that's not useful.
you'd miss your dog too much.
I know I would miss my dog.
Serena,
too much.
by all means, apply for your passport, but you won't be allowed to leave.
I know, but BA
Your
probably go
contract
there,
will be-
83237
Like
if I
the
don't.
Eagles song, you can check out any time you like, you just can never leave.
No, that's a little bit how I feel. But no, so I went to St Catharines. We lived a short sort of bicycle ride away from the school. And I seem to remember getting a horse-drawn milk truck, whatever you want to call it. What would you call that, Tom?
Are you that old?
A horse and trap.
Yeah, with the delivered
cart.
milk used to take us to school.
Serena, that is great, Serena. That is
Yes,
If
amazing.
only we'd had Greg. If you could have that content, that would have been great. I mean, you
we
weren't
used to
born,
honestly
clip, clop,
and then
clip,
and
clop
it was
along the street with milk bottles rattling.
It truly was the most idyllic childhood.
It's quite hot as well, to be honest.
Well, no, Melbourne has quite a European climate. It's not, it's hot in the summer, but it is the most like a European city, probably.
How did your hair cope? Was it not humid?
It wasn't a
So,
problem.
so
then.
hang on.
I
On
wasn't-
this horse and cart
I
with
seem-
milk
Yes.
glass
And
milk
he obviously,
bottles.
but he couldn't have stopped, could
Wait,
he?
and
Have I just imagined this? Maybe I
I
have.
Quite
think you might
amazing.
Could
have.
someone
Wait,
please
was
message
there a
me who was on it with me?
milkman? There was a milkman who was driving the cart, and then how many children on the back of the cart?
Honestly don't remember, but I
and were
remember.
you sitting with your legs hanging off?
I don't, probably.
Wow.
But I you know, it was, but also remember, it's a bit, I mean, it's not like LA, but, it, you know, lovely houses, all sort of next to each other.
Palm trees.
No, I don't remember palm trees.
Well, you said LA.
Okay, well, sorry, but, you know, had nice houses with front lawns, with, you know, all very
House with
pretty.
a front lawn. Okay.
You know what I mean? Sort of pretty houses.
Not so much, but
Okay. Anyway, and we used to all ride, and then when we were older, we could ride our bikes to school.
you can't ride a bike.
I
that well.
can. Honestly, we're going to have a podcast. I mean, the film
This is
on
the
a
second
fucking
lie
bicycle.
of the second lie of the episode.
We're gonna
Second
film it
lie
on
the
a
episode, Mummy,
bicycle.
anyway, I'm
I can
amazed.
ride a bicycle.
Okay, just.
There's so many things I can't do. Millions of them. I can ride a bicycle.
She can ride a horse and
So
milk
going
cart.
back to your
Anyway,
your
I had an
schoolwork,
idyllic. We're not going on to the
We-
schoolwork.
we are going to, 'cause
Claire used to help me.
My grandma, Pum Dog, who's watching,
Pummer.
she
Dog
gave
millionaire, we
me
call
your
her.
school reports because they are a masterpiece in trying, and I actually mean that. Like your grades,
I got lots of stars.
You got so many stars for effort,
Yeah.
and then it was
A lot of, I mean,
and then it was
you were very proud because you thought, Mummy, you got all these A stars.
yeah
For effort.
for effort, and then it went to attainment.
And what was the score there?
No. The A was written in such sort of old-fashioned script. It was in fact a D.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
D
or
star.
even an
No.
E, even
So
an
wait,
No, there were
Alice,
no E's. There were no E's.
So Alice, so attainment was A.
So effort normally if your child works quite hard.
Why are
my
we
children,
doing this
Stop
podcast?
interrupting me. If myself or my children work hard normally, that equals a good grade because if you put the work in, you get a good grade. Poor you, in your
Perhaps
case,
I just didn't try very hard.
you worked really hard, bless you, but
I
nothing
didn't do
came
well.
from it.
My sister Lisa, now she did well.
She's a genius.
She is a genius.
It's odd that you didn't get any of it.
No, none.
I mean, I don't mean that rudely,
Lisa,
but it is
who, I
odd.
don't know if she listens to these.
She does.
Oh no, I was going to say. I think honestly, she just couldn't believe we were sisters.
It is odd, your
It is
sisters.
also because you know I didn't do that well at school, but
And she was top of the
oh,
class.
she was head girl. She went to Oxford.
She was so clever. She did maths lessons from St George's Ascot. She was taken to Eton
Yeah.
because they
Eton
couldn't.
College in
Yes,
Windsor.
In
Yeah.
Windsor,
Where you
because
went, Tom?
Because they couldn't keep up with
No,
her.
she was- and when she
something
got
must
into
have-
Oxford.
maybe everything was given to her in the womb. Maybe
know,
Pama only had a certain
maybe
amount of...
Pama, she took drugs or something when I was...
What, with you?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or maybe she drank excessively.
Your mother was not on drugs.
I don't know. Anyway,
That's a slander.
Listen, we're here today.
She's going to take you to
We're
court.
here today. What can I say? Anyway, Lisa, has done incredibly well and has always done, been very successful at school and throughout life. But why are we talking about this? Because it is riveting.
You're telling us
Obviously,
about your school life.
St. Catharines. I love St. Catharines. Super happy there. Absolutely loved it. Loved my life in Australia. With very, very happy childhood. And then one day my parents said,
We're moving to England.
Can I ask you one question?
Maybe.
To us English people, and I know this may be somewhat, almost a bit like a racial incident,
It's
and
gonna
I'm
be
really
rude.
sorry for
No,
bringing
okay.
it up.
I may not
But
answer it.
no, I know this is a bit awkward to admit, but we are told that apparently Australia is so hot that you could
Fry
crack
an
an egg onto the pavement and it would fry.
You
Is that
could.
true?
Yes.
Is that really true?
Yes.
Did
Really?
you do it?
Not where I lived.
Oh, it's not true.
It
It's
is
not
true.
true.
It is true.
So how old were you when
I was
you
13
moved?
when I was told I was going straight to England. I was probably initially quite pleased. Quite excited. Excited, not
Did you
pleased.
fly BA?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, you would have got more lifetime
I think
points there.
Singapore Airlines or something.
Australian Airways.
Qantas. Without
Qantas.
without
There
a
you
U.
go.
Anyway, One Alliance.
One world.
One World.
Yep.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Stop talking about British Airways and move on.
You know my goal in life. Anyway.
So what age did you move to the UK?
I told you 13.
Right.
So then we go to England, and in fact I wanted to go to Heathfield.
Interesting.
And my mother's great friend, Jenny, who was married to an Englishman, would not let me go. It had a
Why?
very bad reputation in those days.
Oh, wow.
So I was not allowed
That's
to go.
where I went, everyone.
Yeah, Alice went to Heathfield. So
Yeah, the
I was
reputation
sent.
got worse.
Yeah, I was
Incorrect.
sent to this school called St George's Ascot, and my sisters didn't come with me. I went on my own, and I started in the September term. In the April term, they had got a new summer uniform, but I was the only girl to wear it. They said, "There's no point in you wearing the old one, so wear the new one." So I stood out like a sore thumb.
Oh, therapist needs to come in
Incoming.
now.
And I remember I did feel very different. And listen,
And you must have sounded different too.
I'm sure I sounded different. I mean, I don't remember trying to sound like them, but I'm sure I did. I did probably unintentionally change the way I spoke because I wanted to
Quash
fit
your-
in.
kind of
I
quash
wanted,
your
I wanted to fit in. I wanted
I
to
think
be.
that's sad.
I wanted to be accepted by everyone.
Sad that
And
the English school children beat your Australian accent out of
they
you.
did, but I don't think that is my voice very British, very English.
Yes.
I don't think it is.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you?
I think so.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
I
think
also
so.
think you were young enough to come that
Yeah.
it would have, whether you
Anyway,
felt embarrassed
so
or
I
not.
found it quite difficult. I remember being incredibly cold, and it had not been something I'd ever been
think
brought up to think
we're-
I was going to do, to go to boarding school. So it had been alien to me.
And so how often did you see your family?
Oh, that was, one exit either side of half term and half term.
And were there any perks?
No.
Okay. And did you make any friends?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes.
Because you are quite
Friendly.
Friendly.
I was very friendly, yeah.
but you were still sad.
I was
A
very
bit
sad.
like-
No, I
bit like your
struggled.
exams, you struggled.
Sunday nights, I really struggled when I
School
went
was
back.
basically a struggle for you.
It was. And then it became an emotional struggle because I hated it.
There was a turning point
There
in your
was a
boarding
turning
school
point,
life.
yes, yes.
And it's a story that has stuck with me my whole life.
I know you wanted to talk about this today.
Well, no, you don't have that many really good, interesting stories.
I
and
do,
This,
yay. It's one of them.
This is, I think, one of your most endearing.
Oh, really?
And so you were very kind and very nice.
Yeah, got all those stars for effort.
Got all the stars
and
for
so
effort,
we
maybe.
we were told that there was a new girl coming to our school who was a thalidomide child, and that was a drug that was given to pregnant women
To stop morning sickness.
in
60s.
in the 60s to stop morning sickness, and a lot of children in Britain were born without limbs. And she had no arms. She had legs but no arms.
Do you remember her name?
Yes. She was called Philippa.
Sweet.
And her mother left her. And she
Left?
was brought up, I think, by her grandparents.
Oh, God.
And she was a lovely girl. Anyway, we were given a room and we shared a room together.
So the point is, Mum was chosen as a really kind person to share with her because they obviously had to give.
I probably didn't want to give anyone who's going to do academically very well because, she'd be wasting her time.
Yeah.
not wasting our time, but, they probably wouldn't have done that for my sister Lisa, because they would be like, get to Oxford.
Yeah, well,
But they
anyway,
knew
so,
that I
But
was
the point is because
for
you were
being
a
so
kind.
I was kind, so I used to help her with her bathing, but she was incredible. I mean, she could carry all her school books under her neck like this.
Unbelievable.
And she
Wow.
was it was in the 1970s, and I used to paint her. She was given prosthetic arms that were put on like a strap, and she'd wear them, and I'd put the arms in position for
and
her.
put them into the dress as well.
And put them in her clip. But yes. And then I'd paint her nails. But it wasn't, I mean, nowadays I'm sure it's much better, but in those days you'd put the arm in the position, like in ballet, that position. And and she was lovely. I mean, I think it was not for long that we shared a room. But I think people took it in terms after a year, or I can't remember what was the term. But yes, that was that.
And then the beautiful
God
part
smiled.
of the story.
God smiled because
Wait,
obviously
quickly, having not done that well at
I
school.
was going to bring that up again.
Okay.
Yeah, as we've dwelled on that bit, having not done that well
That
academically
seems
at
to be
school,
a very common theme to this
run the
episode.
thread that runs through the podcast. I was then in my A-level English, I think it was A-level, or it could have been in those days O-level, I was given the question, write about someone who's greatly overcome a disability.
And you finally, without being rude, got a good grade.
Yeah, I did.
And your parents were like, did she cheat?
Yeah, I know, it was amazing.
What?
Yeah.
So there you are.
Your mother accused you of
So she
cheating.
literally had first-hand
I know.
experience.
So that God smiled. But anyway, so I did well in English because of Philly, as she was known.
Brilliant.
And yes, so that was, but I did find boarding school. There's no doubt about it. I found it very difficult, but I felt that there were a lot of positives, which is why I found sending you to boarding school.
Do you
Well,
want
we're
to?
gonna get
I know,
We're
but
gonna
I
get
found
Do you
that
want to
very
maybe
difficult.
talk about, because, to I think some of our American listeners, just even the concept of boarding school itself is quite sort of perhaps unusual and strange and interesting, is, talking
Well,
about that more fundamentally.
I mean, you're very privileged to go to boarding school, but
Yes.
I suppose geographically, there weren't day schools that you could go to. And
You're
so
talking about private schools.
private, if you were going to go to a private school, apart from London, you almost couldn't have done that in the country. So you had to go to a boarding school.
If you were lucky enough to
If
be
you were
able to
lucky
afford
enough
it.
to be educated privately, which we were.
Should we do moment or meltdown of the week?
Oh, yes.
Mine was, my daughter was sick off school and she got bored, but she really couldn't go back. And she heard that there was a fair to raise money for the hunt. And she completely on her own decided to make a lemonade stand. Like, without me, without anyone helping.
Adorable.
Found a yellow and white tablecloth, squeezed how many lemons? 100 lemons.
We had 12 packs and each one had about 12 lemons in it.
So 148 lemons. And
Well, the maths episode is coming.
Yes, wow.
I'm brushing up on my timetables these days.
And she
it was really
branded
cool.
it herself.
She branded it using AI.
It was called Nancy's Homemade Lemonade.
Yeah, and she sold out, and they took £73.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and then she tried to share it with her brothers, and I was like, "No, Nancy, keep it."
Did she give the money
And
to
then-
charity?
She had to give half of it. Yeah,
Well, my moment of the week was actually a bit of a negative positive, was you rang me and said that would I go and take Nancy out for tea? And so I had such a lovely time. I drove to Oxford, picked her up from her new school, which was lovely. And we went into Oxford, went to Gales. She didn't like the hot chocolate. We both felt it was a bit bitter, but we didn't want to complain.
No.
We thought that was the wrong thing to do. And then we went to a bookshop. I wanted to go to a nail bar, but I thought that was the wrong thing to do.
you wanted to take her to get a piercing.
Yes, well, that would be
What?
quite funny. Well, I thought, I just said I was going to take her for a piercing. And then we met you in Oxford. So that was my highlight of the
It was
week.
sweet hearing you two giggling together.
You called Alice and I heard you and her say, because she calls you Mimi, she said, Mimi's taken me to get a tattoo, which I assume was a joke.
Well, yeah, of course it was. But, it's anything to just give you a bit of a hard time.
Yeah.
My meltdown was we recently did a shoot for our 4th of July collection. Firstly, it was absolutely freezing in May in England, which I was disappointed by. But secondly, I was on set and I was asked to dress up as the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and you looked amazing.
Amazing.
Sorry, this is
Absolutely.
to be clear. The context is this is to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the independence of America, of the creation of the United States of America.
Again, it was a meltdown for me because I thought, I'm trying to be taken seriously and you're dressing me up as a Statue of Liberty, holding a candle holder
But at least it was the Mrs.
as a
Alice one.
torch and wearing a dress with some stupid Amazon head piece, and I really did actually think,
Alice,
I did know. Don't interrupt me.
You're talking about the Statue of Liberty.
I did.
You look
actually
fantastic.
think this is a new low. Like, to sell tableware, do I have to really do this? And then, just when I thought it was kind of bad enough, Tom and Greg said, right, now if you could put on this kind of male soldier outfit, we want you to dress up as George Washington, a man, and get into a boat with tea bags, all of which...
No, hang on, you're separating, there were two things. You did the moment, you dressed up as George Washington, and you crossed in a boat. You crossed the Delaware. You were, you were reliving that moment.
Reliving
and
it.
Then,
You didn't actually do that.
No.
Yeah.
And then you poured the English tea into the harbour. I mean, in the lake at home.
Yeah, again, though,
And you were mystified why we asked you to do these things.
I still am, and I still am not sure how it sells tableware. But hey, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
So I went to a lovely girls' day school in London called
What
Garden
age?
House when I was from 4. And
we walked to school.
And I mean, one of the
Wait,
main...
you didn't go by a horse and cart with milk
No,
bottles?
but one of the main things, I actually think that kind of formed my aesthetic fashion, I don't know, love for colours and everything, is we had just the most adorable uniform. We wore a kind of teal pea coat with a velvet
From Harrods.
trim.
Your uniform is from
What's
Harrods.
a pea coat?
It is a
velvet collared...
PEA?
A velvet collared woolen coat.
with velvet buttons. And we wore a velvet beret.
Well, that does sound
And
quite cool.
the other thing that was so lovely is in the summertime then, we had a grey blazer and there was a hat.
A boater.
A boater. We wore a boater.
No, it wasn't a boater.
No, it was like just a straw.
It wasn't a boater. It was like a bowler hat, but straw.
Exactly.
With a lovely navy blue grosgrain.
And it had a little thing for your chin underneath. And so that was all very idyllic. The uniform was very idyllic. I think the learning was good. Sorry, quick claim to fame. I was chosen to hold the Andrex puppy.
Oh, I remember that.
And so I was in the advert, and I'll just never forget. I mean, I was really young. This puppy, he just had towel after towel after towel after towel.
Did he? Yeah.
And then he was just delivered and put in my arms, and I just all had to
Why didn't
stand
we have
there.
a photograph of that?
It was a video.
See, you can't even... Things like that, you
so
don't...
annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so I was the Andrex puppy.
Wait, if Andrex, the company, could get in touch maybe from their archives, we would love to see Mrs. Alice and the puppy.
Anyone from Andrex listening?
I made really great friends.
Yes.
It was probably a very good education because I've actually found, amazingly, my mum kept my school books, and my kids need to kind of try harder, is all I'll say. But I think the negative, it was incredibly female, and I loved that. But looking back on it, I didn't have a father around, and I think arguably we literally wore bloomers for sport.
Yeah.
We didn't. It was just so frilly nice. We went on walks holding hands. And I suppose there was no rough and tumble. There was not.
There weren't many schools.
So you wanted
I'm sure
more-
could do that.
No, I think it was a generation thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was at school in the 90s. It wasn't even
So
that.
you wanted more sort of wrestling or something like that?
No.
I just think that it probably made me even more kind of incompatible to the outdoors. And
Also the school finished aged 11.
yes.
You couldn't have gone on any further than 11.
But it was, to be fair though, it was so happy. And
Very.
maybe, education-wise, it was great. And
So
then,
kind of really great school, but just more judo or karate, basically.
yeah, I actually took up judo when I kept on getting mugged,
What?
but that's another story. Oh no, I took up
Self-defense.
self-defense. Jiu-jitsu, sorry, I took up jiu-jitsu. But then in Trinian, I've kind of done the same with my son that I chose to do. But after Garden House, that I had a choice of 2 schools, and one was arguably more academic, but I decided not to go to that one and went to Heathfield, which
The school I had
was
wanted to go to.
a boarding school, an all-girls boarding school, and it's really hard to explain how fun boarding is unless you do it. And it was at a time in my life when you had 3 young children, and I went to basically a 24/7 play date.
Yeah, and also you'd been brought up with the idea of going to boarding school.
Yeah.
It
But
wasn't
also,
just-
I think I really was quite amazed just to be with friends. But the only thing I can remember about you having lots of kids that I ever minded about was never your love, not for me as much, but more that I could really remember you couldn't take me and do the things you used to do. I remember being
Of
like,
course.
can I go to this person's house? And you're like, I've got to feed the baby. Of course you did. So I think for me, boarding school was just a really great fit. And maybe though I like school. I'm not embarrassed to say that.
You're a good student.
Well, no. I don't even mean academically, but I like the kind of rules and traditions and
the routine.
The routine and the structure. And I have a lot to thank my school that I went to, because I think that you could arguably say you're brought up by a single mother. She then suddenly has 3 children. Does your life change? And actually, Heathfield gave me this wonderful stability.
Yeah.
So that does sound stable, because in my imagination, you going to that school sounds more like a little bit like you attending St. Trinian's.
No, it's
Do you know
opposite.
St. Trinian's?
It was the beauty of the school I went to is that you could do incredibly well, or it catered for kids who didn't do that well. So it was fun. It didn't have this kind of hyper academic drive. But if you wanted to get 3 A's, you could get 3 A's.
Oh my gosh, so it would have welcomed both you and your mother.
Exactly.
Yes, no, and it did. And that's why I liked it, because I felt it was a school that didn't take the cream off the crop. There were girls doing medicine. There were girls who struggled. And I think it was a really good, I think it's perhaps not the school it was, but I loved Heathfield. It was an unusual school, and you could thrive there. And people did. People really did.
And I think there was also, I think for the interest of Americans who are listening, there were so many bonkers traditions. And even, I'm 40, so I went there in 97. And you arrived and you had a shadow, and they would look after you and shadow you around the school. And you also asked...
So was a shadow the same age or older?
The shadow was older, the year above you. But then you could ask girls in any year to be your crush. Sounds mad. And I asked Sienna Miller to be my crush. And
Who
there
obviously wasn't famous.
Who wasn't famous, but always had a fabulous kind of air about her, and she always had star quality. But I think that the genius of the school I went to is that I think if you're in a boarding environment, you have to make it feel as schooly as possible. Like, as in, we had chapel twice a day, but that actually became like our infrastructure. It was like our routine. It was our quiet place. The choir was a huge part.
And you took it you were head of choir. You took it very seriously.
We took it very seriously. We wore a cloak and a hairnet every day.
A hairnet?
Yeah. So basically, when you're in the top 12...
What's the point of a hairnet? Forgive me.
It was just an old tradition, and maybe I'm explaining it badly, but I think that the school was so clever that it held on to those old traditions, which actually makes it more appealing to kind of continue to conform,
for
rather
girls
than
to behave and to want to climb up the ladder, want to be head of choir.
Exactly.
And actually, we have to say Daisy Cave, who's sitting in this room, went to Heathfield.
And she wasn't just, I was head of house and head of choir. She
was head girl.
I know.
Yep.
Nerd alert.
She beat me. But just quickly, I find it interesting to look back at the choir thing. Is that the top 12, meaning the best 12 girls in the choir. Remember, the school's tiny, so to be in the choir is not like that amazing. But it was such an honour that every day, and sometimes twice a day, you wore this really beautiful cloak with red, like a cape with red and beige, and then you wore a hairnet, literally like a little ruffle and a hairnet. And you would watch the whole school walk into chapel, and you would then hold pinkies with the girl opposite you. So I was a soprano, and you would hold pinkies with an alto who was opposite you, and you would walk into church, and when you got to the altar, you would nod, and then you would go and sing. And I think this all sounds completely bonkers, but it made school work. And actually, the only time I did not enjoy boarding school was when I got to the last year, because all of those traditions and things that your structure was gone, and you were like living in these bungalows, and
let's go and have a secret cigarette.
You just be smoking a lot. Not that I smoked, but I actually loved the school element of it.
I know.
And we got into lots of trouble, but it was all very silly. And
your sisters went there.
And my sisters went there.
Was it, boarding school in popular imagination, popular fiction is epitomised by Harry Potter?
This was more St. Trinian's.
It was.
Really?
Yeah.
So you weren't like Hermione Granger?
No.
Nope. It was definitely more St. Trinian's.
Huh.
But I can't think of a pro. I can't think of a con of my boarding school, which is so mad. But I can't. But I think I was just in a position that I longed to just be with friends all the time. I liked school, but I can see it doesn't work.
Well,
for everyone.
I think the world is a different place now, and I think actually there are very few all-girls schools that have survived.
One of the most lovely things about girls' schools is that our daughter Nancy, in the summer, and probably in the winter too, but in the summer she plays cricket.
I know. And she's longing to play football. And I actually, sorry, I think that is the negative of the schools I went to, is that it is such a joy seeing all 4 of my children, boys or girls, loving sport, wanting to, whether they're good at it or not. My girls playing hockey, kicking balls, hitting,
Netball, cricket.
Nancy's very sporty.
And I think that is great. And in my day, it didn't really have that.
No, you wouldn't have done that.
Did you do
anywhere.
sport, Alice?
No.
Serena?
Oh, no.
I did ballet.
Fine. So we're not going to do the sports episode.
There will be no sports episode, no. Well, we know.
Talk us through ballet.
I have told you this. I auditioned for the Royal Ballet School, didn't get in, so did a lot at Heathfield. I did it till about sixth form. I went on point. I did modern dance, but it was a bit split. You either did sport or you did dance, and the sporty girls, I just wasn't up to it. So, but I'm trying to think. I got into surprisingly a lot of innocent trouble, and I think that's also what's quite fun about boarding school. I set the fire alarm off by blow drying My Little Pony's hair given to me from a McDonald's Happy Meal.
Yeah. Do you remember when do you get things in Happy Meals now?
Yeah. And the whole
Great to
school,
get My Little Pony and McDonald's in there in one go.
Maybe that does show I was quite bored that I had to blow dry My Little Pony's hair. But anyway,
so you burnt the hair off?
I burnt the hair off,
Set
and
the alarm
suddenly the alarm went off, and I was like, this can't be me. This can't be me. And in front of the whole school, the teacher went, please could Alice Dawson come and speak to the head matron? And she literally almost pulled me by the scruff of my neck, and she said, you've been smoking. And I was like, I promise. And I was young, by the way. I was 13. I was in third form. I remember it so well. I said, I promise. And I dragged these matrons. I never forget. They were walking me to my room. And they were like, show us this mad idea of My Little Pony. And there on the floor was a burnt
melted hair.
My Little Pony. And she was just like, okay, we're not cross at you. We're relieved that you weren't smoking. But at the same time, seriously, grow up.
The school psychiatrist needs to be called immediately.
And of course, Tom, your sister Beatrix went there briefly.
Yep.
To hear, and I suppose, not finally, because I'm not sure what the time is, but Heathfield sang at your wedding.
Yes.
The school
I was
choir
really into the choir.
bussed in and came and sang.
It is time for maybe question o'clock. I know a lot of you are asking what we're doing with my children and whether some of them board. And yes, some of them do board and they love it. But again, I would say it's completely character dependent, and you know if they're homesick and you don't keep them in if they are.
It's a very different world now.
Yeah. And it's also, you don't stay in for the length of time.
No.
I see all my children, they're
nearly
basically
every week.
weekly boarders. Yeah. Whereas in our day, you really had to
But
stay
the facilities are extraordinary, and you're very lucky that they're going privately.
Exactly. That's a really important thing to say.
Yeah.
What was the food like? Do you remember? Because
I think my bad diet started at Heathfield.
Did it? Yeah, I can see that.
There was a tuck shop. And there was
it was the sweetest little shop.
Adorable tiny tuck shop. I mean, like from a movie. Tuck means candy. And there were no restrictions.
Were there none?
None, Mum. And
Did we put money on an account?
No, I just had cash. And
how did you get that?
How did you get that?
Oh, I always had cash. And
it does sound like St. Trinian's.
Oh, the bursar gave you cash.
That's what I mean.
Right. You had to go to the bursar and take cash.
So
and you would be given a box.
Yeah.
That, let's say, the refresher bars had come in, and they'd have the refresher bars on the shelf, and then you would go.
Good.
I had two of those sherbets with the licorice in, and you'd sit there, and then you'd go and watch Home and Away Neighbours and eat the whole thing. Oh, I've got one last good story. So one of the I can't tell you the big bit of trouble I got into, but the second biggest bit of trouble I ever got into, I wasn't that naughty, is I was really hungry when I started, and I don't know how, but I got hold of pot noodles.
Oh, yes.
But we were not allowed to eat them because, quite rightly, they are
kettle.
so unhealthy.
And no kettle.
No kettle, you're so right. There's no kettle, and they're very unhealthy. And so I found a way to ask the matron for a hot water bottle. Mm-hmm. I was 11. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I remember the loo.
And just to be clear, a hot water bottle is usually used in a bed to keep your toes warm.
It's got boiling water in. So I would run down the stairs.
Can you imagine what that would taste like? Rubberized hot water.
Wait, hang on. Yeah.
I would run down the stairs with the hot water bottle under my school jumper. The loo was under the stairs. Do you remember, Daisy, by that back door? There's a tiny little loo.
By the courtyard.
By the courtyard. And I would I'd have to steal a fork from lunch. I had the whole thing planned. And I would pour hot water into the pot noodles, and it wasn't really super hot, so I had to leave it for longer. Anyway, I'd eat it really, really quickly. And this is quite a disgusting point at the end, but basically...
You put the pot noodle into the hot water bottle.
No, I put the other way around. Sorry, did I say that? I put the hot water into the pot noodles.
So the hot water was just the hot water bottle was just to carry the hot water to pour into the
Exactly. I think we have lost listeners now.
Wow.
I don't think we have. Anyway, but then I got in a serious amount of trouble because I was known to be the girl who did this, and this is quite disgusting, but I'm going to say it because if anyone's been at schools, they get it. So I had to dispose of the pot
container,
noodle
plastic.
It's like quite a big tub of pot noodle container. You know, you can't just like surreptitiously put it in the bin somewhere. So I would put it in the sanitary towel bin.
Oh my God,
Alice.
Basically, obviously that's bad for the environment. So the sanitary towel people, this is how I got told off.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. They contacted my head of
They
year.
reported you.
But I did, and all my friends like, Alice, you're just going to, be fair, it's me
Reported
and
by
another
the
friend.
sanitary towel police.
Yeah, and
What's that
we
called,
had to
like
confess.
Sanitan or something?
We had to confess.
You had to confess.
But darling,
We didn't get in trouble.
Who's we?
Me and
your
my
friends?
friend did it.
the fact that you got reported means you must have done it so
Oh
regularly.
yeah, literally the sanitary bin was just filled with pot noodle tubs. So that's the kind of fun.
When I first met you, when we first started dating, even then you used to eat pot noodles.
I'd still eat them now if I could.
It's like pure chemical.
Well,
Do they have pot noodles in America? Maybe they are
They
American.
will do. They will do.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's something equally delicious.
Well, your healthy eating habits have continued.
Yes.
well, I hope that was interesting, and I hope that gave a little insight into
our, yes,
boarding
life at
schools.
school.
I think the takeaway is, because you're not at home, very small pleasures give you huge. I know it sounds silly, but even like toast. Toast was like the biggest
Luxury.
treat. And you know, when you got given a toaster, when you finally got to the age of 16 in your common room, that was huge. And like looking back on that, that is a kind of amazing way to grow up, in that, you know, something as small as a toaster makes you that happy. You know, being allowed.
Toast sounds pretty good. My mother sent me meringues in the post with bubble wrap.
Oh, really?
And-
I see.
And cheese fondue in a pack. Yeah.
Oh, that
Anyway.
must have
But
been.
I think,
Not
do you
together.
regret? I mean, I don't regret. I regret sending any of you to boarding school. I mean, I sometimes think I miss some years, but I think that actually we probably have had terrible rows about your homework, and don't you think? If you'd been at home, it would have been a disaster.
No, Mum. Thank God I was
Yeah,
away
no,
from
I think
you.
it was. I think it was. I think it was
But
a
I
great
mean,
thing.
in a funny way, is it bad that I loved it so much? That's for
I mean, then once again, where is that therapist at?
that. I mean, that you,
No,
you could arguably say, oh, an 11-year-old girl goes to boarding school, leaves her mum, and is so happy.
Yeah, I know.
Read between the lines.
But I think also another thing about it is that it does, you know, give you the opportunity to live with other people and to learn to live with difficult people.
You're right, and you and to make friends, you have to get honourable.
Yeah,
That
you
is
do.
true.
And I
It
think it's a real. That was a very.
That's the one
positive-
thing it teaches you is to basically get
Many
on.
things.
Also
but-
teaches you how to deal with prison if you ever
Well,
go.
if you ever go,
Yeah, it's not. It's like a pretty prison.
you're not free to leave.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's
but I
what I
loved
would say.
it, and
teaches you-
it formed who I am today for sure.
and great friendships.
So next week, if you're still here, we are going to do an insider's guide to London. I think a city that is much loved by us, Serena and Alice, but also we get asked a lot about the places to go, the places to eat,
Hairdressers.
beauty, all of the above, what to wear, what not to wear, the fun parts of London like Chelsea Flower Show, Ascot, I mean,
The
Not
nightclubs, the bars.
the nightclubs,
Yes,
those
probably
days.
be a bit weak on that one, but yeah. So that's next week.
I went to a nightclub the other day. Fun dog.
on you. All right.
Thank you
Well,
so
thank you
much
for
for listening. And
Life isn't perfect.
life isn't perfect, but we sure are trying.
Okay. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.